All right, real quick, I just want to go over how do we know when to factor a certain way? We're given some sort of expression or equation. We need to factor it, or we've been asked to factor it. How do you know what to do? Now, I'm going to use an older thing that I have here. I used to use in my classroom. Why reinvent the wheel? So it's going to look a little bit older, but that's fine. We'll go with it. So let's say you're given an expression, you're asked to factor it. The first thing you're always going to want to ask yourself is there a GCF? Now, if there's a GCF, take care of it. Get it out of the way, move it to the front, and factor the whole rest of the expression with that GCF. Take that out. It'll make your life so much easier. If there's no GCF, that's fine. You just move on. But if there is a GCF, you take care of it first, and then you move on. And once you've moved on, you want to ask yourself, what size was that polynomial? Now, if you don't remember what a polynomial is, it just means many nomials, or many terms, many parts of an algebraic expression. How many were there? Was there 2? So was it a binomial? Was there 3, which makes it a trinomial? Or was there 4 or more, which is just sort of a polynomial? There's more. And if it was a binomial, you probably already took care of the GCF at the beginning because you looked for a GCF. But if it's a binomial, you can still look for one last thing. And that was part of my special cases video that you might want to check out. Is it a difference of squares? Now, is it a square number subtracted by another square number? Because if it is, there's a pattern for that, and you can factor that further. And that's about it for binomials, GCF, and then difference of squares. If it was a trinomial, hopefully you already took care of that GCF, but we can start looking for something else. For example, is it a trinomial that happens to be a perfect square trinomial? This is a trick. This is a shortcut. You don't have to look for that. You can just use one of the other tools I'll mention in just a second. But you could look for that perfect square trinomial to match this pattern. If you don't want to look for a perfect square trinomial, then definitely ask yourself, is it an a value of 1? If it's an a value of 1, which we call the leading coefficient, we would call that a monic trinomial. And you can just use product and sum for that. So again, let's go down that tree again. So was there a GCF? Is it a trinomial? Look for a perfect square trinomial, or maybe you don't want to look for perfect square trinomials. Fine. Is it a leading coefficient of 1? If it is, you can use product and sum. If you don't like product and sum and you don't like perfect square trinomial, well, guess what? You can always use decomposition or the cross method for trinomials. It'll still work. It's just longer. The one thing you definitely need to take a close look at when doing the cross method is with perfect square trinomials. It can get a little messy. The example that I have here is decomposition. This is not the cross method. What you see here is decomposition. Okay, so let's go back up to the top of the tree here. Was there a GCF? Was it a binomial? Is it a difference of squares? Was there a GCF? Is it a trinomial, decomposition, or cross method, or one of the other two methods, depending on what you've learned and what you like? Is there 4 or more terms? And if there's 4 or more terms, we're going to try factoring by grouping. See if that works. Can we group pairs of items or even triples of items and factor them in order to create a nice, beautiful factorization? If not, well, then GCF was the best thing you could do. And this little decision tree can hopefully help you decide what type of factoring you need to do given a certain situation. I'm going to post this as a PDF to my website so that you can have it as well. And then, of course, you could always refer to this video again and fast forward it and skip ahead and all that other stuff. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. If you thought there was a mistake or you'd like to add something to this decision tree, I want to hear it. So I'd like to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Take care.